Welcome to the presentation today for the online journal voucher form. No longer will you send financial accounting and reporting or contract and grant accounting paper copies to process an entry. At this point in the journal voucher process, you have the documentation for your entry. You are now ready to make your entry to go to Banner. You have two options: the new online journal voucher form or a upload. Please remember to keep contract and grant accounting funds on separate uploads from non-contract and grant accounting funds. If you currently use the upload process, you may continue to do so. This is the preferred method for large entries. The new online form supports a maximum of 50 lines. There are a few users out there that prepare JVs in Banner currently. You may continue to do so. This new form will allow you to create an entry on other orgs that you don't have posting authority to in Banner. Let's take a look at how the new online journal voucher form looks. The link will require a Duo login if you are not already logged in through Duo. The header includes an explanation of journal vouchers. This new online form will create an entry that will post to Banner. It is important to note when the IDT form, the interdepartmental transfer form, should be used versus using this journal voucher form. If you are reimbursing another department, distributing interdepartmental charges, reclassifying charges, or correcting charges, use the journal voucher form instead of the IDT form. The IDT form will limit the account codes that you can use when preparing the entry. Note the required fields are those with an asterisk beside the field name. The field requester auto-populates based on your Duo login information. The transaction date determines the period that the entry posts in Banner. For example, for Chart A, the transaction date of August 7th, 2020 will post to period 11 for fiscal year 2020. The form auto-populates the current date, but it can be updated. The online form limits the date entered to within 30 days of the current date. Please be aware of month-end closing dates and see a listing at financialaccounting.ua.edu month-end. Your entry will not process if you use a transaction date for a month that is closed. Enter a general description of the entry. For example, org code correction. Then there is a series of questions about cost transfers. Cost transfers should only involve funds that start with a 2 or a 7. If you answer yes to "Is this a cost transfer?" other questions will become available similar to the cost transfer request form. The maximum number of lines for the JV form is 50. Journal type has two options available. FTO1 is between the same chart. So if the debit FOP and the credit FOP are from the same chart, use FTO1. JE26 is between different charts. If the debit and the credit are different charts, use JE26. If multiple transaction lines, make sure that the total dollar amount of debits for a particular journal type match the total dollar amount of credits for that journal type. Document reference is an 8-character field that is optional and can be used for any internal reference numbers. Description for a particular line item of the entry has a 35-character limit. Chart of accounts has a drop-down for all the chart of accounts available. The following items of the FOP are validated against Banner to make sure the elements are data enterable and not terminated. If there is an org code default on the fund record, it will auto-populate. For account code, any account code may be used. A reminder for contract and grant accounting funds, check with contract and grant accounting prior to making an entry to revenue, those 5 account codes, or IDC, indirect cost, your 78101 account codes. The program code will also auto-populate if the fund has a default. Activity code is optional. Enter the amount as a positive number. Choose debit or credit for each line. Debit is an increase to expense or a decrease to revenue. Credit is an increase to revenue or a decrease to expense. Each entry is required to have more than one line. Your debits must equal your credits. You may copy the line above by choosing the Copy Line button. Tab through the fields to make changes and choose Debit or Credit. To add a new blank line, choose the Add Line button. If a line is added in error or needs to be deleted, choose Remove. The batch total should keep a running total of all amounts, debit and credit, in the entry. The next field asks the question, is departmental approval required, yes or no? Departmental approvers will be fiscal or budget managers for the colleges or divisions. Only one approver can be chosen from the list. The fiscal or budget manager for your college or division can provide guidance on when the departmental approver is required and how it should be used. If the entry is between different colleges and divisions, then the initiator might want to include the fiscal budget manager for the other side of the entry to approve. Attach any documentation for your entry. A maximum of 5 files may be attached. Please combine files where possible. Files must be in the same folder in order to attach multiple files to the form. Click the Choose Files button and locate the files to attach. If more than one file, hold down the Control key on your keyboard and click the files. For cost transfers, be sure to include a banner screenshot of the original charge with the original backup. If additional departmental approvals or principal investigator approval for a cost transfer is required, please include it with your uploaded documentation. Choose Submit the form. Validation errors will appear if something needs to be corrected. Scroll back through the form looking for red outlined boxes and messages for fields that are required. Once the form is submitted, you will be directed to a landing page like this one that states that your request has been submitted. Shortly, the preparer will receive an email with the on-base request ID, the transaction date of the entry, and a description of the entry for your records. The entry will route first to a departmental approver, if required. The departmental approver will receive an email when an entry enters their queue. Then the entry will route through fund managers, contract and grant funds, UA accountants, and foundation accountants for approval. Finally, the entry will route to a secondary review through contract and grant accounting and/or financial accounting and reporting. The preparer will receive an email that either the entry was approved with any approval notes or denied with any denial notes. Denied entries will require a complete restart of the online entry process. After the entry has made it all the way through approvals, an automated upload will be created and loaded to Banner. The preparer will receive an email with the assigned Banner document number. Cost transfer documents will begin with CX. Journal voucher documents will begin with JV. We hope you enjoy using the Journal Voucher online form in the future. Thank you.